to duck out in and out a couple times because I have another hearing going forward downstairs on the healthcare issue. Second, I want to welcome Dr. Gramulik. You are now at my alma mater, the University of Arizona, where I received both my undergraduate and law degree, and I'm pleased to have you here and proud of the University of Arizona and proud of it being recognized for the knowledge and skill of its scientists and professors. I guess I have to begin, Dr. Monckton, by expressing a little shock at the questioning that just went forward and some reference to your name. I think that's a little inappropriate, but if that's what we're going to do in this hearing, so be it. I do believe you were just told that because you're not a scientist, you didn't bring forward any scientific information or any information of any value to this hearing. Somehow I don't seem to agree with that. I think you brought forth an analysis of scientific information, which I thought was fairly clear, and I guess I'd like to see you at least have an opportunity to repaint that picture, because apparently some people in the room didn't understand that what you said was, here is scientific data, here is how it was presented, here is the conclusion that was drawn from that scientific data, and here is why that conclusion is in fact unsupported. And apparently that escaped the attention or the understanding of some people here. Is there a possibility we could call that graph back up and you could explain it to us?
May we have the slides again,
maybe
please?
We can get it the second time.
I'm most grateful. I think that obviously what is happening here is there's a certain amount of politics has crept in on one side of this debate.
What a shock.
And therefore, inconvenient science has been dismissed as not being science at all. That is the IPCC's graph with the 4 separate trend lines on it. That, as I've said, is an inappropriate statistical technique. Next slide again.
Wait, just while we're on that one.
Yeah.
The purpose of those lines, this actually appears in the IPCC report.
It does 3 times, yes.
And all the lines slope upward at different angles.
That's right. As you get nearer to the present, they slope up at steeper and steeper angles. The implication, which is stated 3 times in the report, being that there is an acceleration of the rate of global warming. No, there isn't, as we see from the subsequent slides. First of all, if you choose different starting points and ending points for where you do your trend lines, you can make the lines go completely, make the trend go in completely the other direction. There, you've got 1905 to 1945. It was warming at twice the rate of 1905 to 2005.
So it's the same, it's the exact same data.
Same data, same technique. It's a bogus technique, of course, and that's why you get completely opposite results depending on where you choose to start and end your trend line.
Incorrectly analyzed in the earlier graph to show
exactly.
a rapid increase in warming.
Exactly, and incorrectly analyzed again here.
Okay.
Next slide. Here is the true position, where you have the 3 parallel rapid rates of warming. The first 2 cannot have been caused by CO2 on any view. The increase in CO2 over those periods wasn't enough, even on the UN's formula, to cause that. The third one, we know, was largely caused, because it falls in the satellite era, largely caused by a naturally occurring decrease in cloud cover, chiefly in the tropics, allowing more sunlight to hit the ground. And that, if you use the UN's multiplying up of the warming effect of that, should have caused 1 Celsius degree, or 1.8 Fahrenheit of warming. Only 0.37 Celsius was in fact observed. So we now know that that third of the 3 rapid rates of warming was caused by a natural event almost entirely.
Could you clarify something for
of course.
The panel and for the people in the room listening? What is the satellite era?
The satellite era, from about 1983 onwards, we had satellites up there not only measuring changes in global surface temperature, which they do by reference to platinum resistance thermometers, comparing that with the temperatures they see on the ground, but also changes in outgoing radiation and changes in cloud cover. And all of these satellite data show us exactly what has caused the warming of that most recent rapid period, and it was largely, in fact very nearly all, to do with the reduction in cloud cover that happened quite naturally over the period, nothing to do with CO2.
And with regard to, you don't take the position that there has not been warming.
there has been warming. You can see it on the graph there. Of course there's been warming. Mr. Chairman, you got that slightly wrong when you said I didn't say there'd been warming. Of course there's been warming. What I'm saying is that in the one period we can tell about what caused the warming, the satellite period, it is clear that the warming was largely naturally caused. And there's paper after paper in the literature establishing this. Go on again, please. Next slide. This is Dr. Pinker's paper establishing that the warming of that period was caused largely by a naturally occurring reduction in cloud cover, extra sunlight reaching the ground. Next slide, please. And next one, we'll miss that one out. We'll go on here to the 11 models, I should say, all predicting very, very rapid rates of warming. But this is the relationship between warming at the surface and extra outgoing long-wave radiation. Most of the models predict there will be less radiation escape into space if you warm the surface. The truth, however, as you see in the middle panel now, that's the Earth Radiation Budget Experiment satellite measurement. It shows a very rapid increase in the amount of outgoing radiation escaping to space as you warm the surface. What that means, very simply, is that the radiation isn't being trapped down here to cause warming at anything like the rate that the UN predicts. And that's why Professor Lindzen of MIT has concluded that the amount of warming you can expect to get from a doubling of CO2 concentration, this is scientific measurement, not playing with Xbox 360 models, is only 0.7 Kelvin compared with the 3.26 plus or minus 0.69, which is the best estimate of the UN's climate panel. Now, 0.7 Kelvin for a doubling of CO2 concentration is small, harmless, and generally beneficial.
I thank the gentleman, and I appreciate the indulgence of the chair in allowing you to answer. I guess your conclusion was, I'll just conclude with this remark, that we should do nothing. Certainly it appears to me that the majority got to pick 4 witnesses here. We got to pick 1 witness here. It's pretty evident to me that whether we do nothing or what we do, there's clearly at least a dispute about the evidence. And it is not, in fact, apparently agreed upon. Mr. Chairman, I would also like at some point to ask unanimous consent to put into the record the actual emails which were exchanged, which I believe show the dialogue going on with regard to the analysis of the IPCC report.
Without objection, it will be included in the record. The gentleman's time has expired. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Washington State, Mr. Inz.